What's up, everyone? It's Brandon from Reach Home Loans, and I want to talk about a seller credit. Now, most importantly, what is a seller credit and how does that seller credit work? So a seller credit is pretty much exactly as it sounds. It's a credit from the seller of a home to the buyer of the home to use toward the closing costs that the buyer would normally have to pay. So let's just give an example. Let's just say you were buying a home for $400,000 and the seller agrees to give you a credit equal to 3% of that sales price. So 3% of $400,000 is $12,000. That $12,000 would go toward your closing costs and your prepaid items and escrow reserves. So in other videos, we've talked about what those things are. At a $400,000 purchase price, $12,000 should pretty much cover all of those costs, or at least very close to all of those costs. And what that does, it allows you to get into the home with only the down payment. And of course, that down payment can always come as a gift from family. If you have someone who's willing to contribute, it doesn't even necessarily have to be your funds. But most importantly, the seller credit helps reduce your out-of-pocket costs. And you might say, well, why wouldn't I just have the seller reduce the purchase price of the home by $12,000? Well, that might make sense for you depending on the size of your down payment. Typically, if you're doing a lower down payment option, whether it be 3% or 5%, the seller credit towards your closing costs is going to be more beneficial because you're benefiting dollar for dollar for that 12 grand in this example. Versus someone putting 5% down, getting a credit or a reduction in price of $12,000. If you're only putting 5% down, 5% of 12 grand is only $600. So that means your out-of-pocket expense is only going to go down by $600 if you reduce the purchase price by that same $12,000 in this example. So seller credits are a great option. We're starting to see them more in today's market, especially if you're a little short on funds. You have your down payment, but just haven't saved up quite enough yet to cover your settlement costs as well. If you have more questions on anything mortgage related, you can always contact us. Brandon Brotsky from Reach Home Loans, 954-478-8366.